Hey, hey, hey. Here we are, day 18 for the Service Purpose, the Mission is You Challenge. I'm Brooks Holland. This is my right-hand man, my sidekick, Flops. And just another beautiful evening out here by the lake for sunset. And just basically wanted to give a quick update. That's how things have been going. I had I don't know if you really call him a chiropractor, but I had an appointment yesterday. And, he's like, what are you doing differently? He goes, you're losing fat in all the right places. And he's like, yeah, definitely your muscle tone, all that stuff's increased. And really, like I said, it's not like I'm following some crazy workout program. I'm just being consistent with the things that we're doing in this challenge, which is one, every day making a decision and taking responsibility. That's the first thing. Second thing is eating, no, it's not, it's the water. It's the gallon of water you can add lemon juice and cayenne to it. The second thing is eating real food. The third thing is getting in an hour minimum of movement, exercise, whatever it is, every day. And the fourth thing is no smoking, no alcohol, no weed, no porn, no unprescribed drugs. So literally it had been 17 days and just, not eating, it's not like I'm sitting there eating, tilapia and asparagus all day long. But again, showing results 17 days in. So what does that look like after 27, 47, 67, 107 days? We're going to see. It's going to be interesting. I've gotten a lot of great comments and feedback, and I want to share this is a really big distinction for me. I got this from one of my mentors, Mastin Kipp, and I think this is really going to resonate with a lot of people, especially the military, and it's kind of a different way to look at things. And just for example, let's take PTSD and multiple personality disorder. And this is what Mastin said, and it landed for me so hard because it's so true. Like multiple personality disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder, I don't think they're disorders. Those are responses. So we should call it PTSR, post-traumatic stress response. Multiple personality, you just can't catch that. You have to go through some incredibly, who was the girl that had 90-something personalities? She was basically tortured, and that was the body's way of just protecting her, is just fracture off a new personality. It was a response to some sort of emotional trauma. And really, that's what it is. It's a response. You just can't catch PTSD. You just can't catch multiple personality. These are responses to something. If you go put your hand on a hot stove and pull your hand away, that's not pull your hand away disorder. That's a response because the stove is flipping hot. And the thing is, when things are a response, it's a lot easier to take responsibility for them. But that's the thing, a disorder, when you tell someone they have a disorder, it's almost like, yep, the doctor said I have a disorder. So it also, disorders help to remove personal responsibility. They help to make us a victim because we're a victim to the disorder or whatever the thing is. But if you look at it, it's a response. And that's the thing, so much of the, PTSD, it is. There was an emotional trauma that was there, and how do you process that? And I just really want that to sink in because that's one of the big things. After being in the military for 10 years, there was space for a lot of things, and emotions and feelings weren't on that list. And the thing is, I think, at least for me, they get lumped in with quote unquote mental health, where I really think it's emotional health. You start talking about mental health, people think One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and, straight jackets and psych wards and stuff like that. No, what we're talking about is unhealed, unprocessed, completely stuffed and buried emotional trauma that if you don't handle that properly, it's going to come out and it's going to show up in all sorts of areas in your life. And I guess what I want here is, again, I'm not a doctor, but I want to shift the conversation. I want people to look at these things differently so there's not a stigma towards getting the appropriate help that you need. Because even talking to masters, growing up, I thought trauma was you got your leg blown off. not in something in the sense that like you were a kid and you said, you know, your parents yelled at you or your kids like that. But the thing is, those things still have the same effect, you know, years down the road. Yes, one thing that happened was definitely quote unquote worse. But as far as like when you start getting those belief sets, something, you know, it doesn't have to be like a full out, you know, like go to jail level of trauma to have an impact. And I think we all have some of that, if we're honest about, because we do. We have the not good enough, we have the not worthy, we have the not loved, you know, and these things were, you know, these are things that just happen in life. But what I'd really like to see is where people were actually open to be vulnerable and have the conversation around those things, you know, where they can do that, you know, without judgment, where they can feel safe to get the help they need and have conversations around these things, because it's tough. I've just seen so many. I mean, I struggled with it for the longest time because that's what we're taught to do, especially like bottle it and stuff it, you know, don't show emotions. That's, you know, that's a pretty big, you know, tenet. And I get it in the moment. There's stuff like, hey, something happens, like you have to keep moving on. But the problem is like once you get back into, I'll use the term a safe place, meaning, you know, a place where no one's shooting at you, there's no threats, like you have to process these types of things, because you just can't keep stuffing and tucking and stuffing and tucking and piling it on. And like, you know, because I've known, you know, quite a few people that have done that, and it starts taking a toll in all sorts of weird areas in your life because the body keeps the score. You know, that all that emotional energy, that angst, that anger, that sadness, that frustration, you know, the loss, you know, it basically goes in and drives in and creates these patterns that will just keep looping. Mr. Duck over there, you know, will keep us stuck in loops. And again, it's not about a comparison, because that used to always see me, like, you know, I'd be in, you know, when I started doing a lot of personal development work here in some group, you know, somebody's parents got killed by a drunk driver. There's all these bad things that happen. Like, I didn't have any of that. And so I would always just kind of hang back, but it's not a comparison, is what I'm trying to say, is like anything can go in there and can create these loops, you know, and the ripple effect that 20, 30, 40 years down the road is going to be the same, you know. So you can have, you know, two completely different types of traumas, two completely different ends of the spectrum, but as long as it, like we discussed earlier, you know, if there was a meaning that was created with that, you know, and then you've got the stories, the emotion, the behaviors that are driven, the end result 30, 40 years down the road, even though one initial trauma was worse than something else, you know. So really, I just want to open that awareness, because I really like to see if more people started calling, you know, PTSR. It's a post-traumatic stress response. You know, police, firefighters, SWAT. I mean, there's so many people that have been, I mean, look at all like the 9/11, you know, responders. I mean, that's PTSR. That's post-traumatic stress response. When the body is handled a seriously traumatic situation like that, what they're getting, it's just, that's the body's responding to it. Like, it's not a disorder, it's a response. And that's just something that I got from one of my mentors, Mastin Kipp. It just really landed with me, and I just wanted to share that with you and get your thoughts on it. So there you have it. That is day number 18 in the books. I hope you're being consistent. I know there's quite a few people out there that are, because I enjoy getting the messages and things like that. And I know on these kind of topics, I know it takes guts to leave comments and share and kind of put your stuff out there. But, you know, for those of you that are doing it, I really appreciate it. And so do the other people that are, you know, coming across these videos and finding value in them as well. So keep showing up, keep being a leader. And I will see you tomorrow for day 19 of Service to Purpose. The mission is you. And just so you know, there's these 3 pillars, and right now we're still kind of in the cleanup pillar. You know, we got to clean up the past. We got to clean up the emotional baggage. We got to clean up the limiting beliefs. So that's where we're at now. And, you know, because once we get this clean up, then we're going to start building upon that clean foundation. And so that's why I am taking the time here And what you also see too is through this process, you're always going to keep coming back to clean up. It's not like you take a really, really good shower and you're clean. You don't have to come clean up again. No, it's just going to be on a much smaller scale because we're going to do these huge cleanups and get a lot of this, you know, this past crap out of the way. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I will see you tomorrow. What do you say, buddy? Anything? Flop says, have a good one. Give you a quick pan out here of the lake. Say bye, buddy.